right, welcome everyone to Tuesday Talks. Thank you for joining us from wherever you are. God, I love listening to that music, right? I mean, in our house right now, which is where my studio's at, my office, it's like everything is happening here. We have been listening to all sorts of crazy music over the weekend. We had my daughters were actually playing some music. They were like, I don't know, it was like ballet music, but it was very relaxing and, you know, it was very tranquil. And now here we are. My staff is playing wonderful music that takes people back to the good old days, right? But I want you to know the good old days, despite what some of you may think and what you're experiencing today in your lives. And I'm not trying to ignore the realities of where we're at today, but music always just seems to make you feel a little bit better. And I just took a little bit of time just to kind of reminisce, right? Not that I was from that era, but just love that music from that time. But anyway, those of you that are joining us here today, we are really, really fired up. We've got a lot of great things that we're going to share with you today. We have a young lady that's going to be tuning in, giving you some great information on her success and how she did it, and hopefully some of the things that she shares with you will help you as well. So I'm going to bring up a PowerPoint presentation here real quickly, and let's see, where did it go? I just had it here. I can tell my staff was messing with it while I was, you guys hang on one second. It was just here a second ago, but Anna closed it out and opened something else, yeah. That's great. We have so much fun around here, everyone. Let's see, hang on a second here. It was just, I was like, oh, today I'm going to be on it. And then, of course, it disappears. All right, here we go. Well, I'll tell you what. I feel like I'm always surrounded by amazing people because I want to tell you about this young lady named Shin Rollan, who's rolling all the way to the top right now. She is up in Northern California. She graduated top of her class at Boston Architectural College. And then from there, from architecture, can you imagine? A lot of you guys know the Victoria's Secrets, am I right? Well, guess what? She was part of the team who designed all the Victoria's Secret stores, right? And so, she did a whole lot, had a great going on with her architecture, and she had to make some decisions. Did you hear what I just said? Decisions. And the decisions that she made today has now made her into an entrepreneur, where she founded her own office up in Newark, California, now opening up across the country into the East Coast, into Boston, and growing, right? And so now one of the greatest news ever, she texted me a couple of weeks ago. Actually, she like kind of sent us a FaceTime kind of thing or something. I mean, it was like pictures and videos that her fiance, Alex, who is another incredible stud, that they are now officially engaged to be married here pretty soon. So very, very exciting. I want to say congratulations to you, Shin and Alex, publicly here on this platform. And I'm grateful to have you here today and talk about, you know, what are you doing during a time of crisis, as many are facing today around the world, but yet you keep on catapulting to the top, right? So, ooh, look at that. Is that Disney World in the back with fireworks? Oh, man, you guys, she's got fireworks and I don't, man. Come on, you guys. What are you guys doing here, man? Okay, I want a different image. I like that image right there. All right. Okay, good. You got one on me there, Shin. So, Shin, these people are very excited to listen to you. And if you could go ahead, you know, Shin, I know I normally like to ask Q&A, but I'm not going to do any Q&A because you are an absolute pro at speaking and engaging everyone. So I'm going to just real quickly I'm going to mute my my video and my sound. I'm going to sit back and watch you do the entire presentation. So, and then we'll do that for about a half an hour. And I'm sure right now, many of you guys, as you're listening to her, down below, there's a little button that says Q&A. Click that button, and I want you guys to begin asking some questions that you can ask Shin at the very end. All right, so without any further ado, everybody, let's put our hands together and welcome Shin Rollan.
All right, thank you so much, John.
Awesome.
I was listening to your podcast earlier, and I saw your slide, and Sharon Lepter said, I love that you have the happiest place on earth behind you. So I kind of copied that. And but then I added a little bit of fireworks, so duplication, right? And so thank you so much, Don, again for having me speak. I'm so humbled and always honored to share the stage and speak to your team and to your group. And as I share with you guys my story, I hope you also start thinking about what your story is going to be, about that one day that you're going to be sharing. You're going to be asked by John to share your story, and that way you could influence and impact and inspire people to want to think big. And it's amazing to hear the whole first hour of the session wherein he talked about Napoleon Hill. He talked about Think and Grow Rich, and the fact that it's been around for 100 years, that Napoleon Hill interviewed 500 entrepreneurs that for which we are very thankful for where we have our world today. Huge entrepreneurs like Henry Ford and the like. And now fast forward to today, who would have thought that we would have somebody as John Shin be the for me I guess for me it's like the modern day Napoleon Hill, where he gets to inspire and interview a lot of up and coming entrepreneurs. We were part of the Tuesday talks for the last couple of weeks, and it's just amazing to hear entrepreneurs of different backgrounds, different ethnicities, different career standpoints. And it's just amazing to know. And I was telling Allison, one day John's gonna have me speak, and I can't wait for that one day. And 2 weeks ago I got that phone call, and so I'm very, very thankful and honored. So tonight, first I want to make a shout out to my family. I guess they're here right now listening, so I want to say hi to everyone that's listening, that's my family and also the team. So again, my topic today is the magic of thinking big. Now more than ever, a lot of people don't really think big anymore. With what's happening with COVID, a lot of people are in fear. A lot of people are concerned. There's a lot of uncertainty going on, like what John said. And, a lot of people can easily default to fear, easily default to, maybe, things aren't for me anymore. Maybe, maybe let's just sit around and chill for the year 2020, and let's just try to pick up, where we left off in 2021. It's just everybody's already thinking about 2021 and pretty much gave up on 2020. And so I want to start this night with a quote from Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich: is whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve, right? Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. And what does that mean? Some of you guys here, it's the first time you guys are hearing from me or from John. Some of you guys here have been around for quite some time. And in this book, if you haven't read this book yet, it talks about, I was listening to the podcast, and it talks about the green filter and the red filter. And if I could just share this real quick. Andrew Carnegie told Napoleon Hill that everyone brings with them at birth the equivalent of 2 sealed envelopes. One is labeled riches you may enjoy if you take possession of your own mind and direct it, meaning you're the driver, direct it to the ends of your own choice, right? On the flip side, the other envelope, right, says it's labeled the penalties you must pay if you neglect the possession of your own mind and direct it. So I wanted to kind of, share this with you as we go through this conversation. And I hope to inspire you that, a lot of things that we're thinking, it's all from how we were brought up, right? We were taught that in Think and Grow Rich, that, our social heredity, how we were brought up, how we were told no many times by our, family or peers, or how on the flip side, how we were told, yes, you could do it. You could do whatever you want. And now is the time for you to pretty much take a step back and reset, recharge, and really take a look at where you're at. Right? Are you more of the green, wherein you're constantly thinking big, you're constantly thinking opportunities, you're constantly thinking, I got this, I can do this, I'm possible? Or are you a default, into always worrying and fearful and not having, clarity of goals and decision, envy, jealousy? Which one are you? And, that's what the quote says: whatever your mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. And, I wanted to start with that real quick because whenever I hear that quote before, I never really understood it, and I had to break it down for myself. And I started having those aha moments. And the reason why I want to start with this slide is I want to share with you, how I grew up and where I grew up and how I got into this business and how I got introduced to John Shin. And again, as I'm sharing this with you, this is not really for me to brag, or for me to impress you, but for me to impress upon you that if I am able to achieve the stuff that I've achieved already, I'm not even there yet. I have so much more that I want to achieve, that you can do it too. That everyone here on this call, you have the capacity and you have the same opportunity that I was presented to pretty much own your future, right? And so when I was young, yes, that is my, a baby picture, my big eyes. Growing up, I always wanted to be somebody. I grew up in the Philippines. I had the typical story of a Filipino wherein our parents made the big decision to make some big sacrifices and move to America to provide for us four siblings. And it's crazy how I know they're listening, so I'm a little bit teary-eyed. But growing up, I never really understood that. We were blessed with my grandparents and all of my uncles. There's 7 of them. There's 6 of them, and including my grandparents, and they were always around us, and they never failed to show us that they are our parents growing up. And but then I always wondered, we first Holy Communion, we would have a lot of events wherein our parents should be there, but it's my grandparents there. And I never understood that. And my grandma would always tell me, they're sacrificing, they're building a life, that whatever you want you could have, and they're really working really hard for you. And I remember we were just talking about this in Tahoe, that my parents would go home from here, from the United States, and we would hide in the closet because we'd be so scared. And so I told my grandma, Grandma, I said, Mommy, one day I'm going to be so wealthy that we don't have to be in 2 different places, that we can all be together, right? And so the power of the mind. And of course, my grandma told me, that's great. I want you to go to school, get good grades, and then find a career that you want, and then work really hard, and then you'll be able to do whatever you want to do, right? What I love about my grandma is she's just so supportive. And she always says, don't ever forget where you started, and always pray, right? And so it's funny how John would always, not funny, but John would always share the slide, and I love it. It's when you pray and you ask for things, do you ever wonder that maybe God may be sending your request in different packages? I remember clearly, John, I was at my 3rd year in college in the Philippines, and my parents decided to move all of us here in America, and I was left in the Philippines. And at that time I was just in a depressed mode. I didn't really know what to do, and I was kind of like a rebel at that time. And the first ever time that I prayed, the first every time I was crying, I prayed. And right when I prayed, I fell asleep, and I woke up hearing my mom saying, she's still sleeping, call her later, right? And so I was like, what is that, right? She sounded irritated. And so I woke up, and my mom's like, hey, you got to call your dad. She said there's an opportunity in America, in Boston. There's an architecture school, and it's like, you'll be in the dorm, and it's very safe. And I was taking a shower, John, and I was thinking, wow, can it be really that easy? Right? And sometimes we pray, we ask for signs, and the signs are right in front of us, and we choose to say, God, why aren't you giving me the sign, right? And so if you guys were part of this conversation from an hour ago, you got to start opening your eyes and listening, and opening your ears and looking for signs, because it's probably right in front of you, right? And so I took it, I said, you know what? This is God telling me something. I'm going to drop everything in the Philippines and move, right? Thinking big. And I'm just going to make a new life of my own. 20 years in the Philippines. I'm going to start my life in America with my family. And, it's the biggest decision I've ever made, to leave the Philippines, right? My grandparents and my uncles. And so that's what I did. And so, I went to Boston, right? I did not know, funny, I didn't know that California and Boston were in different places, like the opposite sides. So I never knew that. And it's funny, I remember when I would it was winter time, the first winter in Boston, and it was super cold, and I don't really blow dry my hair, and it was like ice, right? It's so funny. But like my dad sold me this dream of going to school in Boston. It was a work study program, and I learned so much, right? A little bit of backtrack. When I told my dad before that I wanted to be an architect, and growing up, I'm like a daddy's girl. My dad's a civil engineer, and he would always bring me to job sites, and I would always love, I had appreciation for design and houses and architecture, and I told my dad I want to be an architect. And I remember he talked to me, and he said, there's not a lot of architects that are women. And maybe you should just go into business. You could go to this school. It's a pretty nice school. I could we're very well connected. I could get you in that school. And for me, I'm a Taurus. When you tell me you can't do something, I show you that I can. And so I told my dad, no, I want to pursue architecture. And that's what I did. I went to the Philippines. I went to architecture, and I went to here in Boston. And I told myself, it's crazy how what you think about you bring about. This slide right here, this is the lobby of the school, and I did not know when me and my mom went to check out the school that all of the stuff here in the front were all design projects of all of the top or honors class. And I was looking at it, I was walking around, I was looking at it, and I told myself, and with that attitude, I said, one day my stuff's going to be here. Not even thinking that the stuff on the floor are the best stuff when people graduate, right? And so I went through architecture. It was a seven-year program. It was a work study program. I was working full time. I was studying at night. And I remember graduation day, and during in between those times, my dad would always say, because I would only have, because I was working full time and studying at night, I wouldn't have a full, semester. I would only have 3 classes, and that's already a full semester for me. And so I remember my dad would always challenge me. I love it. And my dad would always say, "Are you really studying? I think you're just having fun." And so it's always embedded to me that one day I'm going to show you one day. And it's funny because I would, it's not a good example, but I would cut class. I would go to school just to do enough, and I would go home right after a full days of work. And my grandma flew all the way from the Philippines and said, "Hey, what will you do if you are the top of the class?" And I said, "Well, they may give me something, but whatever they give me, Grandma, it's yours," right? And so we went to the graduation night the night before, and my name was there, and my brothers were like, "What the heck? How come you didn't know about this?" And so the next day, true enough, I got the architecture, project award, and it was $1,000, right? And of course, I promised my grandma, so I cashed it in. I gave it to my grandma. And so, again, it's turning your one day into your day ones. I remember John Shin told me when I started getting mentored by John my first year, he said, you should read the book, The Magic of Thinking Big, right? Always think, imagine if. What if you could have the life that you always dreamt of? What if you could have the life that, whenever you're at the beach, you're always just wondering, I would love to have this. I would love to have this, not just once a year, but always, whenever I feel like it, whenever I want to eat whatever I want, not looking at the right side of the menu, but on the left side, because I'm so hungry. Like, imagine, there's something magical about thinking big, because you start attracting opportunities that will get you there, right? And so true enough, this is what happened. On the left side of my screen, I was actually asked, there's a book that came out in Amazon that they asked me to feature my, sketches. It's just, again, it's like one of those things that you never really think you're capable until you just put it out there and tell the world that, hey, I want this because I know I deserve it. And, a lot of people, John would always say, Chin, things don't happen to you, things happen for you. And, the things that's happening today, who you are today, is because of what you believe you can do, right? And so, as you can see, John's very, very successful, John and Arlene, because they believe that they have what it takes. A lot of people don't believe in themselves. And so that's one of the things that you want to start doing. And so, I 7 years in Boston, that was when I was having too much fun. My dad said, "Hey, you need to come back home to San Francisco, find a job here." That was in 2009. I got a job. 2008, I moved home. I got a job, right? And so 2009 was when I went to the Philippines for 6 months. I had fun. And then when I came back, my mom was invited to a meeting, and you know, my mom was invited, my brother was invited, and I actually was not invited, to be, believe it or not. For those of you guys that got invited to John's Tuesday Talks, congratulations. Somebody thought about you. Somebody thought you were, you know, you had potential, you had something in you, but nobody thought about me. So I was pretty much a tag along, right? My mom said, hey, just come with us, and so I did. And you know, it's crazy how things don't happen to you, they happen for you. In the beginning, I didn't really quite understood it. I didn't see it. It went over my head. I didn't see the opportunity right in front of me, but I'm glad that people didn't give up. They constantly followed up, followed up, followed up. And the third time they followed up, that was when I saw it. I told myself, man, if I was going to be a successful architect, I need to know the financial aspect of things. That way I know how to build my wealth as I build my career. Right? So that's how I started. I wanted to take the financial classes. I wanted to learn. I wanted to, you know, be, responsible with my money. I never really knew how to do that when I was growing up. And so, you know, I that's why I joined. You know, I said, you know, I want to be part of John's organization. That's simply how I joined. I wasn't excited. I was just like, okay, while I'm looking for a job, might as well learn these things and take the financial classes. And that's what I did. And so, my friend Des told me, hey, there's this big event. There's this boot camp, a leadership business boot camp in LA. And I don't think John knows this, but the first time that came into my head, John, was, oh my gosh, it's Disneyland and it's Six Flags, right? And so, you know, again, it's a God showing me the way and giving me the opportunity for me to figure it out. And so when I saw John, that's when everything changed. There was this big event in Valencia. There was like 2,000, 3,000 people. And I remember he said, I don't want everyone. I just want people that wants to win in life. So I'm not expecting all of you guys to come back. I just want the people that wants to win to come back next week. And so I looked at my mom and I said, Mom, let's do it. Right? So I don't know if John knows I'm a Taurus. I said, Mom, let's do it. And so my mom just giggled and says, go big or go home. Right? And so that's what we did. So the first year we would drive. The sacrifice that we made, we drove, you know, back and forth. We would leave, you know, Saturday, 6 o'clock in the morning to make it to the boot camp class at 12 o'clock. Now we're so spoiled. Everything's virtual, right? And so now you have within your fingertips, within a click of a button, you now have the capacity to learn everything you can to be successful. But for us, we needed to drive back and forth. So we drove back and forth. We left at 6 o'clock in the morning or at 12 o'clock noon. We had the boot camp training with John. And then the next day we would leave at noon to be home by 6 so my mom could cook dinner for my dad. Right? That was what happened every 2 weeks. And there came a time wherein I started stretching my vision. I started seeing what John saw, and I started saying, you know, one day, you know, what if I could find a job and still, you know, do architecture, but what if I could do this both at the same time? What if I have the capacity to do both? What if I could max out? So I started doing that. I was working, I found a job, I was working, right? And so I was doing this part-time, and I remember that, you know, my dad started seeing that I was having too much fun, you know, being part of John's organization and having a business mindset, right? And so my dad didn't talk to me for 7 months, and you talk about support, right? The core people that you feel that's going to support you are usually, you know, they care, right? I know my dad's listening. I know you care, but then in the beginning, of course, they're fearful. They're so in fear of, you know, what if it doesn't work for you? And, you know, they're very protective. And so for me, you know, he didn't talk to me. And mind you, I'm a daddy's girl. We didn't eat together, went to church together. We lived in the same house. And I remember we couldn't even speak about, you know, the business and what I do. And it was all like, I felt like I was Cinderella, right? It was, I talked about my, you know, finding a job, but I couldn't talk about what I was doing, being an entrepreneur and having a, you know, like thinking big. And so, you know, I still did it both at the same time. And, you know, I thought, I was thinking as I was getting mentored by John, this picture right here on the right, John didn't know my name, to be honest. That was just my first ever picture with John. I said, Mom, can you take a picture with John? And said, John, can you take a picture with us? And he's like, oh, for sure, right? And so I said, you know, one day John's going to know my name. One day I'm going to be mentored by John. One day, you know, he's going to help me out succeed. And so, you know, obviously that one day became my day one. And you know, this quote resonated with me. And I told myself, you know, I want to inspire people. I want someone to look at me and say, because of you, Chin, I did not give up. right? And I love the fact that John constantly pours belief and the empowerment and the support and the leadership, and and I started to think bigger, and I started to think, what if I could do this? What if I could change the legacy of my family? What if I could contribute? What if I could, all the sacrifices that my parents made, what if I could just give back at some point and say thank you, right? And so I saw John's team and it was so big. And I told myself, one day we're also going to have a big team. Right? Do you guys think like that? Do you guys think like me? Like, oh my God, I want that too. Being an architect, I always imagine things. I look at I space out a lot. I look at a blank, wall, and I start seeing things, because that's how architects are. They were very imaginative and creative. And so these are the things that I started thinking about in the beginning of my business, right? And so again, I prayed. This was a time that my dad told me, you gotta quit what you're doing and you gotta find a full-time job, right? And so I said, why is he doing this? I'm doing this for him and he's telling me to quit, right? And so I still did it, my dad, sorry, but I still did it while he didn't know. I was still, I was still, working part-time, and I was working full-time as I was working the business part-time, and I was praying. I prayed really hard, and I told God, guide me. Guide me, give me the strength, give me the mental toughness, give me the, show me what I need to do. Show me what my purpose is in life. And so, I remember that in 2000, and I believe 2010, I told John, hey, John was doing a 16-city tour and San Francisco was not part of it. And I said, hey, John, you got to put San Francisco in the map. We got to have an office here in Northern California. He's like, nobody's going to do it. Nobody's gonna, step it up and do it. And so I said, you know what, John? I spoke to your assistant. I booked your flight. I booked your hotel. I booked the conference room. You just gotta show up, right? And so I went all in. I went all in to put up this event, and we had a back-to-back, meeting where everyone, all of John's, team members, everyone in the organization, came together as a team, and pretty much out of that, we were able to open up the first office, right? And so, after that, I just had so much fun. I started, building a team, and I started, going all out, going all in, but then I still had that job. And I remember specifically in 2012, or 2013, I started getting sick. I already had an office. I remember I would take BART. I would go to work, full-time job. I would take the BART, learn everything. I would be standing up on BART, going like this, right? And I would go home, go to the parking lot. Remember, I didn't have a car, so I'd borrow my mom's van. I would go to our office, and I would train, right? I would train pretty much what I learned in that 30 minutes that I was traveling. And so that's what I did. And, I got sick. And when I got sick, I remember when I got sick, I was thinking, if I could take some time off. I took two weeks off. I got sick. I started having these chest pains. I had anxiety attacks. And I told myself, instead of, while I'm sick on like leave, I'm going to see if I could replace my income. Right. And so it's crazy. Would you think like that? Some of you guys would say, oh my God, I'm sick. I'm just going to stay at home, collect EDD, and just enjoy and just, wait it out. Maybe I'll stretch it out for a couple of months. No, like for me, I said, 2 weeks turned to 1 month, turned to 2 months, turned to 3 months. But I told myself, I think I could do this. If I could, replace my income 3 times over, and I think I have what it takes to make it here. And so that's what I did. And I started praying on top of that. And I remember I invited my dad and my mom to one of our national conventions. And that's when my dad pretty much saw the picture that we were faith and family and finance and fitness in that order. And he told me, you know what, babe, I could see you down there, next year. Right. And so that was my sign. I prayed for it. And I said, you know what, do whatever you feel that makes you happy and just go for it. And that's where I jumped in full time. I left my first career and never looked back, right? And so I want to kind of not leave you, but then start with this quote: whether you think you can or you think you cannot, you're right. What are the things that you tell yourself? It's crazy. My nephew's here every single day, and every day it's a surprise what he's gonna be. Yesterday he was Superman. Today he was just wearing a t-shirt. The other day he was Batman, right? And so sometimes I tell him, Gavin, and goes, Ninang, you gotta call me Batman, right? And so, you know, why is it that when kids are young, we tell them they can be whoever they want to be, whenever they want to be, but then as you grow up, it's almost like you don't want to be anything anymore. We stop growing, right? One of our leaders said, you know, in nature, you know, what's different about nature and us is nature grows. Whether or not it's a spring, summer, fall, winter, there's a storm, there's a fire, you know, the soil, the trees grow, right? And all of these adversity that happen to the tree, it helps that tree become stronger and grow higher. But how come we stop growing, right? Some of you guys, you just don't allow yourself to grow anymore. So I want to challenge and encourage you guys to think, to allow yourself to think that you can, to think all green, to think possibilities, to think that anything is within your fingertips. Whether or not you're 20s or 30s or 40s or 60s, that you think you're down the end of the line, it's not like that. We're not gonna you know, go anywhere anytime soon. You got to start. Yeah, you know, you only have one life to live, they say, and you got to start now, right? And so that's when I started to think, right? And this is when everything started to happen. And one of the things that Shin would always tell me, if not now, Shin, when? If not you, who? Right? And so we opened up our first location, and you know, things just started happening for us. Once we started thinking big things started to happen. We started, you know, attracting the right people. We started attracting the right opportunity. We started having more abundance, more gratitude. It's almost like all of the blessings, like what Shin would say, all of the blessings from that door, behind that door that God has for us, started falling down like it was storming blessings, right? And so, you know, it's crazy how John would always say, you got to think big, but you got to have goals. What are your goals for the year? You got to attract it. What are the things that you want to attract? Visualize it, see it, you feel it, and then that way you could believe it, and then you'll achieve it. One of the things I told myself is, and I was laughing about this in 2016. 2015 December. Every year I would do my goals, and one of the goals is I want to buy my dad a BMW, right? And it had a smiley face, and it had a smiley face and a wink, like, yeah, right, it's gonna happen, right? Like, whatever, right? I was barely making six figures at that time, and I was like, okay, whatever, it's a goal, right? Let's see. I remember we were driving, and I asked my dad, what kind of car do you want? You know, if we're just gonna, you know, if this is just a story anyway, what kind of car do you want? And he goes, I want a BMW, right? And I was like, in my head, I'm like, oh dear, that's pretty expensive, right? And so, you know, I went another step, and we looked at we took out an iPad and said, what color do you want? What exterior? What interior? What does it look like? If we were to create your car, what would it look like? Blue exterior, white interior, and then like wood siding. I said, okay. And so, you know, they test drove cars, we test drove cars, but you know, it was kind of expensive when I test drove the car, and you know, for a good 2 weeks, we were busy at work in the business. For a good 2 weeks, I didn't talk to him. He didn't know I already got that car, right? April Fool's Day, you know, the day before April Fool's Day, I got the car and I parked it in my brother's garage. And it's funny because my brother started adding on to the joke and saying, where's your car, Pops? And my dad goes, I don't know. She hasn't mentioned it from the time that she asked me if I wanted a car. And then my brother goes, oh, she's such an architect. It's just all on paper. It's not real. Not knowing that he was saying that the car was already in the garage, right? And so that day, April Fool's Day, we surprised my parents with a brand new car, right? And so I want to leave you guys as I go through some of the 7 things that I want you to take away from this conversation, is determine why and who you're doing this for, right? You know, the support, the adversities, that's all part of it, right? So that's why we always say, you know, if everybody could be successful, then not everybody would want to do it, right? That's why success, you know, people that are very successful, if you ask them how they got there, there's a lot of, you know, adversities that they had to go through. I remember my brother would tell stories where you know, he would go door to door, and a car would, you know, or a dog would run after him. You know, there's so many adversities, but then those are just you know, think of it as storming and all of these things to make you a big, strong tree. Those are just there for you to be stronger. Those are just there for you to come up taller, right? And so determine why and who you're doing this for, and do whatever it takes to win for them. You know, I'd rather take all the no's in this business than tell my family no to their dreams, right? And so I hope that's how you guys think about this, that this is not, you have the opportunity to change the course of your life. You know, if you love your job, that's great. But how about have another, means, right, to making this, legacy that you've always promised your family? How about choosing, what you want and controlling your time and having both the time and the money? How about having that, right? And so, I want to leave you guys with 7 things. Number one is make a decision, like what John Shin said, like decide. Decide is meaning, side is killing all the options, do or die. You got to decide today that you will allow yourself to think big. There's a magic with deciding, because it's your choice, right? Your body, your mind, your heart is all aligned because you made that decision, and you do whatever it takes. So allow yourself to think big. If before your family all told you and brought you up to thinking small, well, now's the time for you to make your own decisions, right? So decide that you're going to think big. Number two, find a mentor. I'm so lucky and so honored that I have John as, one of my mentors, and I could always reach out to him, whether or not it's 2 o'clock in the morning or 1 o'clock. I just ask him a question and he answers right away, and he gives me, advice about everything. Right? I was leasing a car the other day, and he was giving advice on that. And so everything, even in relationships, and to the point that I heard Arlene help choose the ring. Right? It's just amazing to have mentors that believe in you, that appreciate you, that really want you to win, right? And so mentorship will help you dodge the bullets. Who's your mentor? You can have a spiritual mentor, you can have a physical mentor, like a fitness trainer, but who's your mindset mentor? Who's constantly surrounding you into the mental toughness in that will help you as we tread through this whole year? Who does that for you, right? And so you can't do it all on yourself. It's crazy how once you find a mentor, whatever you want in life, you start having, and it's so easy in front of you. I told myself I want to influence people, I want to inspire people. And because of this whole Think and Grow Rich movement, we were able to do that. Not only were we able to, inspire Filipinos in our community, we were able to really speak into these big events, right? I told God, I want to be a speaker one day. And I remember he told me, do you have a book? Are you an author? And I said, no, want to become an author. But then one day, right, he asked me, can you speak in an event in Sacramento? And that one day became day one, right? And so number three is create your mastermind team, Mastermind Alliance. Surround yourself with people that would either level you up or pull you up, and raise your lid. Right, this may be your room temperature right now, but then this is where you want to be. You gotta surround yourself with people that will raise, right, would raise your capacity and empower you to become better and become a better version of yourself. And so have clearly defined goals. Think and Grow said you gotta have a definiteness of purpose. What's your purpose in life? What do you want? At the end of the day, what do you want? That way, once if you move on to the next stage of your life, that people will know you for what you want, and not be like, oh, I never really knew what he wanted to do in life or she wanted to do in life. Have clearly defined goals and a plan to achieve it, right? And so they always, as an architect, we build things 3 times, right? And a great builder in life also build things 3 times, in their mind, on paper, and in real life, right? So again, clearly defined goals. You got to write it down. Write your goals down on a piece of paper, right? Write it down and put it on somewhere. I have it on my wall here, all my goals. Create a blueprint. What does it look like? What are the steps? What are the first thing? What's the foundation? How are you going to build it up? How tall is it going to be? How big is your business going to be? How small is it going to be? How wide? Where are you going to, which city, which state are you going to have it in? Right? And so you got to start planning it. And at the same time, you got to read it all the time. You got to read it, that way you start believing it. You got to read it, that way you start imagining, conceiving it. You start believing it. And once you believe it, you start taking action. That way you get to achieve it. Right? And so, like what I said, number 6 is take immediate massive action and believe, right? There's this book I'm reading right now, The Answer, and it says that, look at your life right now, your income, your family, where you live, what you're doing, and that's a reflection of who you believe yourself to be. Right? And so if you're happy with that, then that's great. You found your passion, you found your purpose. And I know people like that. I have brothers that love what they do, and that's great. But not everybody has that, right? And so start finding your purpose and start believing that you could achieve whatever you want. Start thinking like you were 2 again, that you could achieve whatever you want. You could be an astronaut, you could be, you could be an engineer, you could be a doctor, you could be, there's so much so much opportunities right now. There's really no limit, right, in what we could do and what we could achieve. And believe, because if you believe you can, in the beginning you have mentors for belief. It's like a fuel tank going to a place. You got to start having them get that fuel tank pumping, right? But then at the same time you got to start also pumping yourself. You got to start believing in yourself and start understanding that you can do it too. You believe that you can, and you're halfway there. And lastly, have fun. John would always tell me, Chin, you got to have fun, right? At the end of the day, every single day is a blessing. My mom would always tell me, my parents, I would always see them first thing in the morning, they would pray, and they would always be grateful that there's another day that's been given to them. You got to have fun. You got to act as if today is going to be your last day and max out, right? And so I'm going to end with that, John. And I just want to thank you again for the opportunity. It's been a blessing. It's been amazing. And I just can't wait, it's amazing to see the lineup of speakers that you have. And I'm just looking forward to doing more and achieving more. And I'm just so grateful for you, John, for never giving up on me and always, being my friend first, right? And the times that I wasn't doing the business before, you were always there for me. And that's what got me back in the business. And that's what got me, serious. And that's what got me to stick around. It's really the relationship. It's because you believed in me more than anything. And because of that, I started believing in myself. And thank you so much. My family, Allison and I appreciate you. And thank you so much, John.
Holy smokes! I just got a call that the fire department is on their way to your house right now, Chin Rollan. You're on fire, baby. You're on fire. That was so good. Look at those 7 nuggets right there. And they're all just equally so awesome. Thank you, Chin, for sharing that. Is your mom on here somewhere? Is your dad? Are they all watching you right now? They have to be so proud of you, really. I mean, for all the things that you've done. And they did a wonderful job raising you. So mom and dad, you guys are watching. Congratulations. You've got to be super proud, super proud. All right. Well, listen, everyone, if we had more time, we would definitely get into some Q&A. I don't know if we've got much time here. So let me just real quickly, just wanted to go over a couple things here with you guys real quick. Oh no, I don't want you to see all those slides. Where are we? All right, here we go. So let me just, can I share this with you guys? Yeah, here you go. So first things first, what I'd like you guys to do is, Chen, can you still see me or hear me? I'm assuming you guys can. Okay. So first thing is I'd love to have you guys follow Chin on Instagram if you aren't already, okay? And if you've got any specific questions, just hit her up on her, DM her, on what do you call this? On Instagram, yeah. And watch her content, just so you guys all know, okay? So thank you very much, Chin. Appreciate you. You did a phenomenal job. For those of you that are asking, this will be edited. Just they'll cut most of me talking out in the early part, and you'll have her segment uploaded on YouTube, and you guys can go back and listen and watch and see what part you may have missed, and you can see that on YouTube. All right. Thank you, Chin. Appreciate you. Greatly, immensely. We love you. Congrats on everything that's happening in your life. Okay, guys. Now, as both I talked about it and Chin talked about it, time is not running out, but your life is, okay? It is decision time for you, and I want you to know that I need your help. I need your help. I need your guidance, okay? I need your support with all the things that I want to do. And we are open, it's not like, we talk about a mastermind. We're doing what we're doing, and we've come a long way, but, we always want to add more people's perspective, of how we want to do things. Like for me, I want you to know that, when we go to school, when I was in like elementary school and high school and junior high, I didn't understand why I had to learn most of the stuff I took in school. Like for instance, I knew I wasn't going to become a doctor. Why did I have to take a biology class? I was never going to become a chemist, never interested in me in that kind of stuff, but I had to take a chemistry class. I even had to take a ceramics class. Like, why would I have to take ceramics? I don't want to have anything to do with ceramics. Now, that's me. Doesn't mean like some of you, okay, may not want to take a course in ceramics, okay? But I feel like our politicians right now, state, national, you name it, congressmen, state legislatures, look, here's what I believe. Classes that should be mandatory in high school. Number one, okay? I believe, this is just me, okay? I mean, you could disagree. We agree to disagree. Number one is money management, right? I mean, just look at these logos. It kind of says it all, right? Money management. Number two, mental health. Oh my gosh, right? How about three, taxes, time management, right? Self-confidence, self-love, financial literacy, acts of kindness, right? I mean, what? Like, I mean, can you imagine if we would just get in there and just teach a course on this? In fact, I think adults in our society need to learn this one right here. Acts of what? Kindness, right? And it's just crazy. Like, these are like, to me, I think the bare bone necessities that we need to teach our children. But hey, maybe you disagree, but this is what I want to do. I want to start bringing all this kind of stuff back into our educational system. Okay, let me just kind of go on here. Tomorrow, right, 2 o'clock p.m. Tune in on tomorrow, or excuse me, day after tomorrow. So I keep on thinking, I don't even know what day is. Can you guys imagine? One of our associates, his name is Shy, just texted me and says, can you believe that we're officially at the 6-month mark right now? I mean, you know, where we've been all quarantined? Yeah. Well, for me, it doesn't even feel like 6 months because I have been going at it nonstop. I took a little break with my family for the 4th of July. I took a couple days off to be with my wife for her birthday. You know, but other than that, folks, I want you to go in here, tune in and listen to Kevin and what some of the newest things that are out there and what's available. And then don't forget this Friday, okay? I need more of you registering, and more importantly, I need you to go and tell others to join us this coming Friday, okay? So your network is different than my network, but together, right? If we join our networks together, then we can actually increase our net worth, okay? So tune in. Now, I love this. The movie is also available at johnshin.com. If you're like this person right here, this is a guy named Rollan. He texted me right here and said, Shin is solid, right? And then said, don't need to wait for your showing on Friday. Literally went online to John C. Shin and bought the video. And I appreciate that. We're going to send you this video right away. And so enjoy it, Alon. Appreciate that text message you just sent to me right now. So anyway, Saturday, tune in on Saturday, September 19th, okay? And then next Tuesday, wow. This is another person that I'm actually mentoring and coaching right now, Claricel Rojas, who is just tearing it apart. I can't wait to tell you guys how she and I actually met, which is pretty crazy story. Like, you can't miss next Tuesday how Claricel and I met. And then we're going to have her give you some of her nuggets and her perspective on things and what she's doing to blow up her business with her husband, Ray. So now they, by the way, met in our business together, and just Ray is just a world-class individual as well. So, but you're going to hear from Claricel next week on Tuesday. Please register. And finally, I want you guys to know that we've got a convention that's coming up September 25th and 26th. The registration is now open. It's only $25, 2 days of 4 hours of content. That's $12.50 a day. Divide that by 4 hours, you're basically paying about $3 an hour for all this amazing content. So again, make sure that you register for this. And just so you know, we had someone, I threw a contest, and I said, if you hit this guideline, I want to send you a podcast, webinar, Zoom, green screen And we do have a winner. And that winner is no other than Akira Ogasawara. Did I say that, Akira, right? I talk to Akira every day. But congratulations, Akira. You won the green screen. And just so you know, you want to be on the lookout for it because it is already on its way to your home, okay? So just be on the lookout for that. Let us know when you receive it, okay? And we got some special birthdays. Number one, my wife. Oh, my goodness, my wife. Her birthday was yesterday, September 14th. We had an incredible time over the last couple of days. I can't believe that we have been married for as long as we have. It only feels like it's only been a couple years, yet we've done so much together. She is the mother of our 4 beautiful kids, and she's probably the only person on this planet that will tolerate this guy right here. So that in itself, she deserves a tremendous, but it is her birthday. That was her birthday yesterday. But we also had Lauren, right? Daiquiri. Also, I had no idea, Lauren, that your birthday and my wife is the same day. So happy birthday to Lauren. And of course, we have Emmy Punsalan. Also, I had no idea, Emmy, your birthday is the same day, or my wife's birthday. You guys are all Virgo babies. So congratulations. Happy birthday to all of you. Hope you had a wonderful celebration. And this coming Friday, we have Claricel Rojas, who will be the speaker next week on Tuesday. Happy birthday to you, Claricel, as well. You guys, if you have any announcements or things that you want to share, please let us know. Reach out to our office so we can make a slide for you and share it with everybody. Other than that, here's my information. So much content, right? Facebook, Instagram, YouTube channel. These are different websites of mine. My mobile number, my email, and if you want to make an appointment so that you and I can chat one-on-one, please schedule it with Matthew. He's our VP of Operations. And there you go. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight. We appreciate you. We hope we've provided some valuable content that you need to apply right away. So we'll see you guys on Thursday. God bless every single one of you guys. Take care and have a wonderful evening.
This is how we do.